Hi everyone, my name is Teacher Yihao from CCE Education. Today, I'm here to share with you about the higher order thinking questions in science exams that constitutes about 20 to 30% of the PSLE. So you may be wondering right now, what are the higher order thinking questions? Well, higher order thinking questions are the very challenging questions that require students to have good analytical and problem-solving skills to answer. These are creative questions that students will not have the chance to practice beforehand, and no templates will be good enough that students can just insert the templates as the answer. Now I have one such examples over here. To solve these questions, students will have to make use of visualization thinking skills to simulate how a person in a wheelchair will be affected by the different use patterns when it's raining. Then, students will have to associate that this is actually a question on force and intelligently craft the answers in a way that fit the requirements of the question. We classify this type of question as the concept simulation questions, as students will have to simulate what happened based on the concepts they have learned. In fact, if we are to look at the PSLE syllabus guideline from the MOE, it is actually mentioned several cognitive thinking skills that students are expected to gain before the PSLE exams. I'll highlight a few important ones over here. Like take for instance, formulating hypotheses, predicting what is going to happen, analyze this question, analyze the situation and analyzing the experiments, and generating the possibilities. Finally, students will have to evaluate what actually happens and the results from the experiments. But CCE actually went further to classify higher order thinking questions to 20 different types. So today I'm going to show you a few more other questions over here, like this type. Okay, this is the complex representation types of questions. Now, the droplets actually represent substance like water that can pass through part X, that represents the cell wall. But some of the lightning-shaped object that represents other substance can pass through part X, but they are not able to pass through part Z that represents the cell membrane. So the challenge of these questions is that it requires students to link the symbols of the concepts and able to explain the questions correctly. The challenge of this question is that it requires students to link the symbol to the concept and able to explain the diagram correctly. So the third type of question that we want to introduce to you are questions that students have difficulty recalling which concept this question is trying to test them. Like this question for example, without any clues, students will need to link that constipation is actually related to the function of the large intestine. Then, explain that because the feces has stayed in the large intestine for too long, that more water is being absorbed than before. We call this type of question the deep conscious association question. Now as you can see, such question requires students to have cognitive thinking skills to analyze and think before they can actually solve them. There will be no templates that can fit to all the creative questions type. And for sure, students will not be able to answer them just by practicing on exams paper alone. Neither can they gain the thinking skills by constantly practicing from assessment book. Now parents, not to worry so much, because you can think about it this way. Despite the increased weightage of high order thinking questions, and this question seems to be getting harder and harder every year. What if you as a student, or if you have a child taking science exams soon, have the ability to answer these questions? I actually got a good news for you, because gaining these cognitive thinking skills is definitely possible. In fact, we have been helping thousands of students over the years to improve their cognitive thinking skills through CCE's Cognitive Improvement System, and the results is fantastic. Every year, our students will solve close to 92% of the higher order thinking questions in exams. Now, this can be your chance to master these important thinking skills to truly solve questions using your own and not just hoping that you have done similar questions before. This is because CCE Education will be running our Cognitive Thinking Skills to Solve Higher Order Thinking Questions workshop. This will allow you or your child to gain the thinking skills to solve some of the most important higher order thinking questions in exams. Our in-house academic team have actually packed together a workshop based on our 3,000 man-hours of research. Just like other CCE courses, the cognitive skills will be taught with a mix of activity of experiments along with the teacher's explanation. This course is for everyone. We will work with every student closely to ensure that every student gain the knowledge they came to learn by having a very small class size of not more than 7 students per class. So no matter if you are a student doing very well and looking to gain the top marks for the exams, or you are scoring average grades, this course will still be very beneficial for you because you get to experience how a top student think and able to grow your thinking skills from there. And trust me, you or your child will be wowed after the course, just like many of the students who experienced CCE program before. You'll feel the sensation of seeing your mind visualizing the questions and simulating the outcome perfectly like a top scientist. And you will be surprised how you can actually dig deep into your mind and craft the answers to the question's requirements precisely. Once you have mastered the art of thinking, it will not just push you to a guaranteed better grades, but this will also help you better cope with more challenging academic concepts in higher institutions such as secondary school, poly, or junior college. This will be the most important science course you will ever need. So call us at the number below or visit the website for registration. Our website is cce.education. So cce.education. I'll see you at Thinking Skills to Higher Order Thinking Questions workshop. Thank you so much. My name is Teacher Yi Hao.